You know what I was thinking about today?
I'm not recording yet.
You're not. I thought I heard the clicks.
I'm just joking. I'm recording. Just in a bit.
Your bit is like guy who's not recording his podcast.
It's just like a pretty annoying lie that serves no comedic function. Right. That was my bit.
You know what, though? Like, we have a lot of time to fill, and it's good to just sort of stretch out comedically. Find new avenues to explore.
It's true. What were you thinking, Sam?
Here's what Samuel? I was thinking about today, because, like, so much of my waking life is now consumed with thinking about Blink-182. Like, an astonishing amount of my time. And I think about how much more time you must spend thinking about Blink-182.
I actually don't think about Blink-182 at all. I only think about Blink-155 now.
Right. And so have you separated those things in your mind?
They're completely separate. Like sometimes, like recently I was trying to find a photo of us because we're idiots and don't have a photo of the two of us together that is of like high-res standard quality. And again, being someone who's worked at magazines forever, I know the only thing that matters in the world is that you have a high-res photo of yourself. Like, no matter what, I would run bands in Fast Forward all the time that I hated because they had some 300 DPI sweetness waiting for me. I don't care. I just got to fill some space. That's like the most important thing in the world. And yet, two of us media professionals are fucking so dumb that we spent like 3 days in a row together and went to movies and like gallivanted around Bloor Street and got tattoos together and didn't
took a lot of photos. Took a lot of photos in that period of time too.
We really did, but not almost never did we think, hey, instead of using the front-facing low-res camera and instead of doing a dumb photo that's has many distracting elements to it, like a tattoo artist or a movie theater, why don't we just take a plain standard photo of ourselves? And we never did.
No, not interested.
But because of that, I was like scrolling through our Instagram, trying to find like anything that I could submit for this thing I needed to submit to. And I was just looking at all the things that we post, and like most of them have pretty much nothing to do with Blink-182 at all, aside from like a logo that's been edited. But otherwise, it's just all completely insular.
Yeah, this is basically the most esoteric Blink-182 podcast you could ever make. Like, you know, a podcast about a very popular band. And we're like, we want to make sure it's really, really hard to get into it. So we're going to throw up a lot of walls. I find when I look at the Instagram, because I sometimes like won't like see stuff for a couple of days, and so I'll just be like, you know, in bed catching up on my socials, and I'll go back on a few days of Blink-155 posts, and it's such a terrifying journey into your mind. Like, I feel like it's just like sort of like just popping open your brain and taking a look in at, you know, the memes that sort of exist somewhere between your skull and your brain.
Well, there's a lot of I don't want to tease too much, but there's a lot of meme talk coming up. Not only on this episode, but soon. But are you getting at a point of that you can't stop thinking about Blink-182?
No, there was no real point. It was just like I was amazed to think how, and I also like recently explained the pod to my parents, and like, and my parents are like super supportive, wonderful people, and kind of keenly aware of a lot of the stuff that I do. But the podcast has just sort of passed them by because it's like too fucking stupid. And
it's a pretty long explain also.
It really is. But it's just that being like, Blake, I remember, yeah, you used to listen to that band. Really though? That's what you're doing with the life that we gave you? And no, it was just sort of more of a general thought that I wanted to share with you at the beginning of this podcast, which is like, I cannot believe that as a 33-year-old man, I spend, these 2 hours, but then like many more. Like I would say I spend 10 hours a week now thinking about Blink-182.
Right. Well, not only that, but I've noticed, and I feel like it's going directly against what I said in the San Diego episode, which is that I don't particularly love dwelling on nostalgia because it often makes me feel kind of bummed out. But I've noticed that it is right now, currently, unfortunately for me, nostalgia season.
It's happening.
And it's not only like culturally or whatever like that, but everyone in Blink-155 Pod Nation on Twitter and elsewhere all seems to be revisiting the pod. Like a lot of people separately of one another have noticed that they've started the pod from the beginning recently, and they're
Wait,
doing
okay,
a
hold on.
full re-listen.
But just to be clear, you're saying that it's not nostalgia season like the way that people might traditionally think of it, which is like nostalgia for the 80s and 90s or your own childhood, but specifically nostalgia for the beginning of this podcast 70 weeks ago.
Yes, exactly. People have nostalgia for the start of our own show, and they've started listening to it. I've seen, I think it's the Context Clues 155 account is like listening to each episode and pointing out like people that we've said should be guests one day, or times that we've mentioned celebrities that have since been canceled, or just various things. Like there's a lot of like documenting the full show going on. And it's kind of baffling. I just can't believe that people are already, it's like I said last week about people were worried about the end of the show, and now people are already wistfully looking back at the start of a show.
I love that the
still
nostalgia,
not the halfway, still no halfway point yet.
Yeah. The nostalgia life cycle is so short now. Like that is like truly truncated to be sort of feeling wistful about something that started just over a year ago.
But there is also something really great. Actually, just please vamp for 1 second because I want to get this right.
Okay.
I want to get someone's name right. So just pretend that there was some great place for you to enter some vamping.
Something to talk about here. While you're mentioning Context Clues 155, and something that we did at the live show, which we've since had to update, and we obviously also did exclusive about, is all of the various 155 accounts. But I also feel like, there was this explosion of podcast accounts that was like super funny and insane for a minute. And then it was like, okay, cool. The joke has been made. And I feel like now we're in the second wave of Blink-155 accounts. And there has been both some like, in my mind, extremely funny ones. Like there's one just dedicated to how bougie I am, Champagne Sammy, which is like legitimately very clever. And then I believe Blink-155 Theories has now transitioned over to Blink-155 gender theory.
Studies.
Yeah, gender studies. And that's actually been like this sort of like edifying lens through which to view a lot of the more complex ideas that you and I consistently fumble through in the most ham-handed and grotesque manner. So like I actually have found like another meta level of like my own appreciation of this process, like through
of our own bullshit.
Yeah,
also.
Totally. Because I'm like learning from them, right? Like, oh man, like
it's so fucked.
It was Roscoe, right? Posted something when I was like trying to be woke about the Feeling This video and how I was like, oh yeah, Blink thinks high school was just like prison, but that's stupid. And then shared like a link to something that was like, actually in the US, the prison or the school to prison pipeline is very real for many people. And I was like, oh my God, I'm fucking learning. Like it's just, I feel like we're in a bit of another kind of golden era of meta commentary, which is both hilarious and enriching, and I'm appreciative of that.
But I also think we're at the point where we could never do another exclusive about the Twitter accounts because it's too crazy. Like we barely grasped it when we did the first one, and now it's just gone. Now it has to be someone's thesis in university.
Yeah, truly.
And I'm talking IRL, not Harvard Online.
Yeah, okay. The gauntlet has been thrown.
So back to it being nostalgia season. I feel like you didn't. I don't think you responded to this tweet that we were sent, but this is from Craig Mills, username Craig A Shark, and this guy's a big time ska fan. I think he gets really bummed out when we make fun of ska. So do with that information what you will. But here's something that's not sus. I don't know if you saw this, but he sent us this band called Scooped Up. And this is like ultimate nostalgia season. I can't believe that this even exists. Never mind in 2017 this was released. Did you watch this?
No, I've been like a little slammed, and I've seen some tweets. I saw this be sent, and I saw various people, including yourself, be like extremely stoked about it.
Yeah, just like skip around a little bit, and I'm going to play what it sounds like. I can't believe this is a modern band. So this band's called Scooped Up. The song is Something Sick, and it's from their new album, Dumbass, in all caps.
On Orifice Records, which I think is... God.
The video is like also just like it's basically cosplay of 1995.
Yeah,
There's
it's like a basement show. Someone's playing Tony Hawk on an old TV, which is on top of the amp at the basement show.
they all have like punky colors in their hair. There's a point where someone drinks a Slurpee straight from the Slurpee machine. I feel like I haven't really had time to dig into this band completely and friend them all individually on Facebook, but I intend to do that because scooped up with an exclamation mark, might I add, and written in like grade 8 graffiti font is unbelievable. It's everything I've dreamed of.
This is so sick. It's just people skating and being at the punk show.
And there's a part where someone lights a blunt in his mouth before he starts singing.
Oh,
it's
my God.
Yeah, it's so good. So I plan to really dig into this band some more, but I think nostalgia season is real. And just before we get started, there's one more thing I do want to say.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more serious, actually. But we've sort of, like Halloween was recently happened. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people were dressing up as the nurse from the Enema of the State album cover. I don't know if anyone heard our interview with the nurse lady. Can't remember her name.
We're indie 88ing ourselves here, but yeah, you found someone who wrote a review of Enema of the State and talked about how to properly.
Yeah, she runs the Truth About Nursing website.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of interesting things to say just about like the sexualization of nurses and how that cover has proven to be kind of problematic. And far from me to be the one to make the definitive statement on that album cover and whether or not it's good or bad for society. But the cover does feature a nurse with her cleavage exposed on the cover. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, as opposed to that cover, I really do prefer the Dude Ranch cover because it's untit-led.
Holy shit, dude. I was like trying to flex my head today, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking beat Josiah at his own goddamn game. And so my idea was I was gonna try to find a way to talk about celebrities. And I thought you had actually dropped a good one for me earlier where you were like, oh, Context Clues 155 has been collecting sort of celebrity interviews we said we'd get, shit like that. And I was going to be like, oh, it's something about celebrities and when all those celebrities were in the ad for Tidal and then when all those artists were putting out Tidal exclusives. Oh my God. But then that kind of stopped and that sort of exclusives are really sort of destroying, like it's a big problem in streaming. And anyway, I was going to find some way to eventually refer to these artists that were untitled. But that was God. I hate that even when I fucking try, like I shouldn't.
Well, really, it is a competition of who's going to start the thing. I mean, you could have done it, and I still would have gotten untit-led out there because I've been thinking about that and grinning for quite a few hours today.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's sort of like shades of, early days of the pod where I would also try to do research, but I would spend like half an hour grabbing a couple of covers and like reading.
I saw somebody, because it is nostalgia season, someone wistfully wrote somewhere like, man, remember when Sam used to also submit covers?
Yeah, but the thing is, I'd be like, here's one, and you'd be like, sure, but I found, you were just always going a little deeper in a way.
I just have a severe issue, and I need help, is what you're saying.
But I was never finding anything that you weren't finding, and so I was just like, maybe I can just let this whole process wash over me for the next 3 years.
You're enabling me to just really lose my fucking self in this.
What does Sarah think of me in that context? Because Sarah's obviously a fan of the pod and everything, but especially when you put it like that, when I'm like, you just do all the work, you should find all of the videos with no views. How many can you find, Josiah?
Well, I mean, I think that there's another layer to that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if she's listening right now, write in. Don't tell me. Just write in blink155pod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. That'll be
We
the
should
only
do
way
a
I communicate.
mailbag episode. That would be fun.
Yeah, we should. But
I know it's
think
like wildly navel gazing, but
that'll also be the only way I communicate with my wife now is just write into blink155pod@gmail.com.
Yeah, what would you like for
what you want to
dinner?
have for dinner. Yeah. But I think there's another layer of that because you are not actually encouraging me, but it's your distaste for the extremely esoteric stuff that drives me further to dig, to hope. But now it's getting confusing because I feel like I have won you over a little bit, and you like the punishment now. So we've really created this sort of codependent, it's horrible relationship.
It's truly sick. But yeah, sorry, I'm wondering though, if psychologically, if I was like, oh, great TV repair videos, I'm so excited. Another snake funeral?
Well, there was an episode where you were trying to go off topic, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to go off topic anymore. This is basic now.
Right, that's already been done.
Yeah.
God, it's just such an exhausting project.
We just wanted to talk about these songs, and now here we are.
Yeah, so this is, again, imagine me explaining this to my parents, where it's like, we talk about the songs, it's at least 2 hours. When they're under 2 hours, someone complains, and it feeds into Josiah's sickness.
I also remember explaining it to my parents, but they really understand my sense of humor on a very deep level and share it in a lot of ways. And also know that they should never listen to this, so they never will.
Yeah.
But they do get it, and so I explained it to them, and they understood everything. But then they were proud of me, and then they were telling my aunt about it, oh yeah. And then I was talking. I already talked about this actually because I had to talk to my aunt and Oma on FaceTime. And then I somehow have already talked about that on this fucking thing.
Wow, and I don't remember. So
but then my dad was on that same call, my dad was yeah, and he has this podcast, and he interviewed the guy from Imagine Dragons on it. And then I had to try to explain it to them, and it was such a nightmare. It was horrible.
Oh, so what do you think about the song Untitled by the band Blink-182, Josiah?
Untitled.
What do you think? Yeah. Untitled.
It's interesting, actually, to take a song out of context on Dude Ranch, because I usually do listen to almost the entire thing in a row.
This was a really hard one to stop. I had it sort of playing a few times before we started recording, and I listened to it twice, but then I was I just got to keep it going. So then I listened to Apple Shampoo, and I was listening to Emo, and I was just having a great time listening to Dude Ranch.
It fits really well into the context of the album.
It's an amazing sequence. It's a really incredible journey that they take you on in this portion of the album.
But then having isolated it to listen to it today as well, I thought that it also has tons of dynamics and a lot going on as its own thing that I never really gave it credit for before.
Yeah, it's I knew it was a good song because it's on Dude Ranch. But T's on. Do you want anything, Josiah?
Blink155T. Twitter.com/Blink155T's on.
Right. But yeah, this is not one Apple Shampoo, is a monstrous fucking jam. When we get to Emo, we know that's a jam. Dick Lips. Untitled, I was right, Untitled I know is good. And then when you actually listen to it just sort of on its own, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It has
really
a lot going on.
And I think it's one of their... we've probably already said this about one of the songs on Dude Ranch. Everything that I say sounds familiar in a weird way. But I do feel like this this is one of their first slow songs. I'm just going to go ahead and say
I
without
think you're
knowing.
right.
It feels like one of their slowest songs to the point, especially because I was watching a bunch of old videos today, and they were so fast back. I don't know if we've ever said this before, but that Scott Rayner is one hell of a drummer.
That I know has not come up.
Right. But this one seems crazy slow compared to the others. But then, of course, it builds up and gets so fast. And then I gotta say, the Harms.
Oh, yeah. Dude. There's hints of Harms, right? The whole song is letting you know that what they've kind of got coming, and then just that big fucking dumb 50s doo-wop ending, which is not present anywhere else on this album and so extraneous. Like, you can imagine them writing it and it's just playing it like a fucking punk outro, and then being in the studio and just being like, do you want to add like some Phil Spector just like pop punk wall of sound harmonies to this? And it's such an amazing coda to the song that's already taken you to all these different places.
And I think this will hopefully come up again at some point in the next more than half of this project, because we're not at the halfway mark. I would just like to remind everyone. But I think 50s stuff was a huge influence in this time that we haven't really touched on yet. But when they weren't wearing their cool streetwear clothes and baggy khakis, they were wearing like Leave It to Beaver style cardigans and stuff in like promo photos.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, we've talked about how the only bands that Blink seems to like collectively be fans of are The Cure and The Descendants. But I mean, it's very clear from, you know, the harmonies, because the Descendants also weren't like a really big harmony band. I mean, it's just Milo singing, right? Same with The Cure. Like, I don't know that The Cure. I'm sure I'm like leaving out all the amazing secret harms in Milo Goes to College, but like,
well, I mean, even if they had harms, they didn't. I think what this sounds like is like true corny hours Beach Boys kind of vibe,
full or on, like
yeah, and that's something that. And I wonder then, were they being ironic? Because I know like wearing cardigans and stuff was an ironic nod in the 90s, I guess. And everything does happen in 20-year cycles, which is weird. So like in the 90s, everyone dressed like the 70s or the 1950s. And now the 90s are back again in this day and age. But now everyone just dresses like they listen to Beck. But no one likes Beck anymore. So it's all really confusing.
I mean, I think it's just because people are over Scientology, right? Because everyone still agrees that, like, Sex Laws is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing Sea Change songs when I go to the grocery store that's across the street, and it's so fucking good. But then eventually my thetans kick in, and they're like, you got to stop liking this.
Right.
Because we're the spirits of ancient ghosts, and we're not going to allow it.
We do not approve. Sort of like, what sort of anciently hip grocery store is there across from your place that it's always playing Sea Change era Beck?
I don't know. I'm so confused because also sometimes they don't play music at all, and then other times I feel like they're playing like Fortet or something. And I think they might just let some guy like put on his iPod. But I've heard Sea Change twice in there.
That's weird.
I also go there like 4 times a day. Like, I don't even use our fridge anymore. I just buy items individually because it's so close to the house.
That's great, man.
Yeah. So anyways, Untitled.
Right. So let's maybe start with the title.
Yeah.
Because why? Like, and that maybe is part of why this song sort of slips through your fingers. Because it's so good. There's no reason why we should not be, like, trumpeting this as I mean, it's not a top 5 Blink song, but it's definitely a top 10.
They're
like,
all top 5, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, look, many of them are.
Well, it's interesting that you just said the word trumpeted, because I just want to point out that
is it?
Some people have considered this song a tribute to the emerging ska punk scene. That was in one of the Blink-182 books, and I don't know why or where that comes from. But later on, I'll play you some live videos, and it does look like Mark skanks a lot in the intro. So maybe that sort of intro does have it doesn't have any up picking, but it does have the sort of staccato bass line of like
it could
No
be
Doubt song or something. If it had the up strokes, it would actually be a ska bass line.
Yeah, like this could very easily have been a Sublime song.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that sense,
oh no.
This probably should have been discussed during ska season.
And now I don't like the song anymore.
Yeah, but back to the Untitled thing, I don't know. Like, do you have theories why it's called that? I literally have no idea. It's feel so like frustrating.
Calling anything Untitled is always an attempt to like be very serious. Like, you know, when a poem is untitled, it's like, fucking just title your fucking poem.
Well, the other thing is, speaking of things that are very serious, and I don't even remember now what the album's actually called, but the one that has the fake Nirvana logo on the cover, is it Untitled or Self? I think they said it was Self-Titled or Untitled. I forget which, but they're both
Self-Unentitled.
we call itself Untitled. I think it actually is called Untitled. And that does make more sense because that's like more pretentious a little bit.
It is yeah.
But that also made this song nearly impossible to research because of that.
Oh, so. God. I only just fucking realized where this is all headed. And
I'm not.
Fuck. Well, I wasn't there all day. I was like, oh, it's going to be fun to talk about this song. Like, not thinking for a second that whatever is going to happen in the next hour is going to ruin my day.
I mean, maybe. It might, but maybe not. It might be more... it might be more laid back than you realize because I might have saved some things for the other two songs that are called Untitled.
Yeah,
in the
how many is
catalog.
It? How many is it total? Is it 3 Untitled songs?
There's Untitled, and then there's Untitled 1 and Untitled 2, which were both just also called Untitled, and they were on the band's second demo from before Cheshire Cat. So it's just all fucking mess. But yeah, there's no reason for this song to be untitled at all.
No. It's I think it's a really kind of juvenile, and I don't even really even mean that as a criticism, but it's like a very young person's way of just imbuing a thing with meaning by actually giving it absolutely no meaning. Like, it's too complex. I can't title this. Like, it's like the thoughts that I'm expressing cannot be distilled into a few words. Like, it's unbecoming of this piece of art that I have crafted.
Looking at the lyrics, I feel like it should have been called Stupid because he says, I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. It's like obviously a breakup song, and he's admitting that he was dumb back then. And calling it Stupid is like a perfect way to make it fit in with the Blink-182 theme, but also have this like self-reflection and self-effacing nature to it. So totally. I think it should be called Stupid.
I think it should be called... best friends. Fuck, I'm just looking at the lyrics trying to find something funny. It should be called Multiple Women Screaming.
Yeah, that's also what it should be called. Yeah. I think we should talk about the sketch on its own in a bit, but yeah. I don't know, like, what do you think of these lyrics? I think they're fine. They're nothing stands out as being embarrassing or bad to me.
I love like sincere Tom. I think there's like something so direct and satisfying about it, especially when you're younger. Like, this song, I remember like listening to it, you know, when I was like breaking up with girls that I had only ever like looked at and not held hands with because I was like afraid of women, you know, like but it still felt like you're like, yeah, like you let me down now, but I also let you down. Like, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, when you're young and everything is like the fucking end of the world, and like the way that you feel about your, like, I'm putting my scare quotes up, like romantic entanglements at that time.
Right.
This like so perfectly captures this like indescribable and perhaps untitleable and particularly adolescent sort of view of relationships that like I just remember like deeply fucking feeling this song, and I love that, like, otherwise on this record you get like a lot of very goofy Tom, and it's like Mark who tends to hit the sincere notes, I think, better on Dude Ranch. But this to me is like just such a perfect, simple, and direct kind of real Tom song. And I am grateful for its place in my upbringing. What about you?
I do love the way that I didn't really think about that until now, but you're right. I love that it's like he puts the blame on himself and on her, and it's like this weirdly mature breakup song that
totally
like over time his breakup songs are more immature and more like fuck you bitch. But this one is like, maybe I was also the bitch.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, because we've talked a lot about that, you know, with other songs. So this one has a surprising amount of self-reflection and self-awareness.
But what I really love, and perhaps now this might be the key to understanding the title. Is this a lazy rhyme, or is it Tom trying to sound so deep when he says, but now, just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time, things rearrange. I am so sick of chasing you. I mean, who would say that? Like, how does a pop punk song have, but now, just as things change, as well That is Shakespearean.
It
Sorry
is.
to bring up the bard.
It's the
we need our
bard.
bard drop sound effect.
The bard. We do need a soundboard. Like, I think that, like, because really what we're doing, like, I don't listen to morning radio because I'm not up that early, but, like, I remember being a kid and listening to, like, Zoo Crew type shit, and it's just vamping. Like, it's just the same dumb bullshit, but, like, more homophobic, only a little more. And it's sound effects, and the sound effects are the best part. Like, if we had a soundboard,
well, I think it's one of those things how, like, I don't know what I'm referencing, but either way, no matter what, everyone who's making a podcast eventually does just become a morning radio show. Like, everyone eventually has a soundboard and a theme song for their segments and, like, segments even and all this stuff. Like, you can't really fight it. Just eventually you become a morning radio show.
Totally. It's the race to the morning. Like, it's also, I think, indicative of the kind of sort of like quiet sort of cleverness at play where they will jam in either sort of sentences or words that have no business in the songs because they work with the rhyme scheme that they've developed. It's why commiserating is in all the small things, right?
Well, there was another one in Pathetic, I remember, like, speaking specifically of the Untitled album. Please don't bring up the Titled album right now.
Okay, sorry.
But there was another line in Pathetic where it's like just this bizarre, like, the game Twister with a sentence in order to make it fit. And, like, the weird thing is, think of how often there's a song where not every line rhymes and you don't even notice.
Mm-hmm. Because I think, like, they are less beholden to it, like, these kind of, like, I guess, rhyme schemes as it is the sort of, like, the syllables, right? I don't know. It's really interesting. I totally agree.
Yeah, like, I just feel like you didn't need to say, but now just as things change, as well my feelings do. Like, you just didn't need to do that. No one's going to notice if as well my feelings do doesn't rhyme with I'm so sick of chasing you. But I am wondering if it was that, like, verbal acrobatics to make it fit, or if it was him being very pretentious and just trying to sound smart, which I also could very much relate to, like, just being dumb and wanting to sound smart. So you just say your sentences all fucked up or write them down weird.
Right, yeah. You say hoomst a lot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that does speak to maybe why it's being called Untitled, is because he was like, this is going to be my very serious song.
Yeah, like, that's what
my feelings do.
When I want to, like, seem like I'm smart these days, when I'm, like, writing my clickbait that I do, I'll say a sentence that starts with, like, lest you think this was going to happen. I'll say lest.
Oh,
and it's like, I'm
nice.
like, see, I'm not a sellout. I'm just writing the word lest.
You know what
I'm
word
smart.
I've started using, or it's not that I started using it, I used it in one email once where I used remuneration, and the person responded and was like, sick, remuneration. And then I, like, have since used it in, like, multiple emails because I'm like, wow, I know that I sound like a fucking baby genius when I use this word. So
hang on. You said remuneration?
Yeah. What's the...
Do you mean remuneration?
No, remuneration.
Is that also a word?
Remuneration. Oh my God! No fucking wait. Yep, there we go. So I've been saying that. Oh, that's so
I'm looking
good.
at Washington State University, remuneration versus remuneration. Although remuneration looks as if it might mean repayment, it usually means simply payment. In speech, it is often confused with remuneration, which would mean recounting.
Holy shit. I thought you were like setting me up for a bit, the way you were like, wait, are you saying this? And I was like, what's happening? But no, you were setting me up to just look like a fool. Oh, well, this is the worst.
Do you want to start? Do you want to rewind?
We have to
little?
go back. It's so good. Oh, that wasn't just you correcting me. That was you correcting me in the context of me talking about how I try to sound smart.
Not only while you try to sound smart, but while talking about, I assume, large sums of money being deposited in your account.
Just,
so it's really just all of the Sam accounts are getting some.
This is great content for the Sam accounts. Remuneration sounds like a stupid fucking word.
I know. It's probably. I mean, at least you got away with it. That's cool. Unless the person was very, very dryly dunking on you.
Oh, yeah. And I've since tried to really. Oh God, I should not talk. Hopefully, it like spell check because I was using it in emails, so I'm hoping that like it was corrected in the emails and I just didn't notice because I'm too fucking dumb and I can't read. Oh, that's disappointing.
This is a good app so far.
This episode sucks. Oh, let's erase it.
So, to be honest,
I haven't been recording this whole time. That's awful.
You wish. Now, to remunerate on what you just said, which I'm saying as to change the topic and get back on topic.
Okay, yeah.
While I was looking around, honestly, there might be stuff about this.
Okay,
there might be stuff about this song, but I can't find much. But I did find some fun Dude Ranch stuff. We'll get back to the song in a minute.
Yeah, because you're sending me fucking documents right now.
Yeah, I'm sending you the documents. No, but I did find this Billboard article, February 21st, 1998. So I would have been 12 years old. And you would have been 12, almost 13, right?
I would have been. Wait. What's the date of it again? February.
Are you looking up each word that you say before you say it, just in case? Just
didn't hear me being like, yes. Just constant typing while I try to sound smart again. Oh Lord.
Anyways,
yeah. So 12 going on 13, right? Who fucking cares?
Yeah, but either way, I found this old ass Billboard article, and I just thought it was kind of cute, so I thought I would share it if that's allowed. I don't know. Is that okay?
It's against the rules of the pod, man. You know.
Also, I'm very baffled by Google Books. Like, it's so weird when you can search things and then just entire issues of magazines are on here, but then what if I just wanted to read Billboard? I wouldn't be able to just go to Google Books and find it, right?
Google Books is like a bit of a weird thing. I remember seeing a documentary about it a while ago.
Oh, the World Brain or whatever? I saw that one.
Yeah, and it was funny because I feel like I went with Ashley and I think we thought it was going to be like about something else, and we had like gone out for dinner and had like kind of a few too many drinks. We're like, this will be fun. We'll like get kind of half in the bag and go see a doc, and it's like this very serious film about like the future of information and the importance of literature and whatever. And it was like the least fun documentary I've ever seen half drunk in my life.
Documentaries are not fun because real life sucks.
Real life is such a bummer.
So anyways, I don't know. Google somehow owns this shit. Who knows
Google
how, but this
everything.
Is entitled
Yeah.
The Modern Age. It was written by Carrie Bell. And I feel like it seems like an early Blink-182 article in the trades, as we like to call them here in the biz.
Yeah. Wow, I just do want to say that the number one mainstream rock track the week that this was published was Given to Fly by Pearl Jam. And the number one modern rock track was Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
Wait, so Blink-182 is talking about Damn It when Green Day was already killing it with Time of Your Life?
Yeah, because I feel like Nimrod and Dude Ranch are like not, they're similarly timed. Because that was all like grade 7, grade 8.
Yeah, I guess.
It is weird to think that they had already moved on to like graduation songs though, and like the end of summer camp.
Nimrod is an incredible album looking back now.
Nimrod is fucking great.
But I also feel like it's the signs of them cracking and falling apart. Like it's like they're getting too experimental where it worked that one time, but then like you can't go back after that. Yeah,
you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and Lord knows, Time of Your Life is a lot of toothpaste.
But anyways,
let's read this article because this is an amazing opening line. Like, this is so fucking good.
I know, it's so good, Carrie Bell. Good work.
Are you going to read it? What the hell? Are we just going to talk about it?
I don't know how to pronounce that second word. I don't want to do it.
The virile boys of Blink-182 are girl crazy. To celebrate this fascination with the opposite sex, they have written 2 jump-around pop-punk songs, including Damn It, Growing Up, number 12 on this issue's Modern Rock Tracks.
So good.
Damn It is about when you break up with someone and then you see them all over town with someone new. Bassist vocalist Mark Hoppus says, it really hurts when you aren't the person feeling the love, but you have to act like it's cool to save face. Sick, man.
So cute. But the sort of the third column is maybe it's not. None of this is relevant, but it's still fun to read. We are in this for good times and music. We write simple songs, he says. In fact, the best songs are the ones that just happen immediately and spontaneously. If you work on a song for weeks and weeks, you're forcing it. For damn it, I was sitting at home plucking the guitar when a moment of inspiration hit. In only 10 minutes, I wrote the lyrics and music. Although Hoppus could take credit for the hit, he extends the responsibility to include his bandmates, explaining that all the songs on the album Dude Ranch are a team effort. Every song has its own creation story. Sometimes someone comes to practice with a complete song. Other times we only have a riff and we hammer out the right words. Mostly we screw around until inspiration hits. There is no band prima donna. That's how it ends. And I feel like even then, that's a dark way to end it. Like, Carrie Bell must have known some shit was going to happen to close with that quote.
Yeah, Carrie Bell. Let's get Carrie Bell on the pod. Let's find out what it was like to interview these virile boys back in the day.
But then it got me thinking, like, who is the prima donna? Probably Tom, I guess. Like,
it's
how do you
Tom,
define
yeah.
a prima donna, really?
I think if you're the one that leaves, you were the prima donna. I don't know.
You think? Yeah.
I mean,
guess.
if we had to name one.
I think, yeah. I was trying to look up Madonna's birth name quickly so I could say that was prima donna. But it looks like her birth name is actually Madonna, so never mind. Let's keep going.
Is it real? That can't be true.
Madonna Louise Ciccone.
Oh, look, you learn something every day.
See, this podcast makes me realize why most things should have executives who can cancel it at some point.
Wait, because you think you and I just looking at Madonna's Wikipedia page in front of a microphone
just to make a bad joke?
Yeah, like to unsuccessfully make a bad joke.
And the fact that we're getting remuneration through Patreon too is like, fuck.
Wait, did you say renew or remune?
I think remune is correct, so I said it wrong on purpose just to do a little, do a little bit.
Remuneration sounds like something bad that would happen to your dick.
Yeah,
like if you're like, oh, dude, my tip is really remunerating. Like I
don't know if I see it like that.
I do.
I just feel like mune makes me think of muni, money. So then,
right? Okay, that makes sense.
God. So this is one of the songs that's also on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Oh,
so we can hear it with Travis instead of Scott.
Oh, what an exciting opportunity!
But we're not gonna.
Oh, interesting.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Here we go. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Put it up.
I think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. But now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me regret those times I spent with you and playing those games as I wait for your call. Now I give up, so goodbye and so long. It's not a change of pace this time.
Fuck, the song's so good.
I mean, I will say, Travis needs to fucking chill. Like, just calm down. You're not running a drum clinic right now, sponsored by Zildjian Cymbals. You need to chill the fuck out.
I mean, he's definitely Travising it up pretty huge for sure.
And that makes it sound very ska. You don't notice as much until you have that like snappy ska drumming.
Yeah, but at that point, it basically sounds like a Sublime song or like a Goldfinger song. It sounds like Goldfinger.
Yeah, totally. But I think what really stands out that I forgot to mention before is that before it gets fast, when it goes even slower and there's those octave chords sort of combining each line, it sounds so incredible.
Yeah. So, Blink's a good band, man.
And I also think I like any music that has octave chords. I was listening to something, I forget what it was, but like I'll listen to any genre as long as you're playing octave chords. It's like the greatest thing in the world.
I remember like when someone explained to me what octave chords were, it was like, we've talked a lot about the amazing, influential, underrated, particularly by you, band Grade on this podcast before. And I remember like in a casual conversation with someone.
I got to say something actually quickly because I feel like I am losing all sense of self in this project.
Do you like Grade now?
No. Okay. Even before we started, I was telling you that I'm legitimately excited that there's a new Imagine Dragons album out today, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like actually legit like Imagine Dragons for real now. And I just feel like I am wondering, like, am I so lost that I just like anything? And I haven't done a deep grade to dig yet. But because of your love of it, I'm like, oh yeah, I probably was wrong about hating that band. But someone who listens to the pod, who's a longtime friend, I'm not going to name names, messaged me and was like, the way that Sam and Damien talked about Grade, I was like, did I miss something? And this is someone from Vancouver, which I think is important because I think there is a Vancouver-Toronto distinction of what we like.
Yeah.
They're like, did I miss something? So I went back and listened to Grade, and it was awful. So I think I feel comforted that I was still, my first instinct was right.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm happy for you and your dumb friend. You can't fix your broken.
I think it's
brains.
a coastal thing.
Maybe,
in Canada.
Yeah. But I mean, like, look, we liked DBS. And we're open-minded. Why can't you guys accept our good bands?
It's because Toronto just loves itself too much.
Toronto even liked Daggermouth. Like, come on.
Yeah, but let's move along.
Let's
talk
move
about
along.
that.
Okay. So the point is, right. Okay. So I was talking to somebody about just like the sound of Under the Radar, which is like one of several perfect Grade albums. And they were like, yeah, it's just like, that's when they just started doing like octave chords on everything. And I was like, right. Yeah. Cool. But I had no fucking idea what an octave chord is. It was just hilarious because it's such a literal thing.
Right.
And then I was like obsessed with this. You can definitely hear also like I'm an extremely shitty guitar player. So anytime there's like an instrumental section in a Junior Battle song where I can't be like singing or doing something like that I'm remotely competent at, I just play octave chords. Like it's because I'm like, these sound good, like it's fine. And you can just play one octave chord while other people do stuff that's more complex and it sounds like very deliberate and sick.
It sounds smart. It's like saying remuneration.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's truly the remuneration of your guitar.
I feel like it's remuneration season also, in addition to nostalgia season.
Yeah, well, look, the month turned over. We were just remunerated by Patreon, so it's a big deal. But I totally agree. I just think it's like you hear octave chords, and then when so who uses octave chords a lot is Alkaline Trio. Yeah,
I don't know about that, but in this song, especially,
I mean, they do use.
Well, they probably don't. I mean, who can say for sure?
Yeah.
But in this song, I think also they are actually quite clever the way that they work in between the vocal lines. And again, like watching old videos, it's like they used to be very tight, and Tom is really good at guitar, and for him to sing those parts and then also be doing the octave chords that kind of interplay with it is so good.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it's like very like pavement-y. Like it sort of like sounds like for a second there it sounds like Grounded or something.
Yeah, totally.
So like if you ignore the fact that maybe it sounds like Mabel or like a sort of like pop tinged Goldfinger song, it's
Well, there is that's why Scott is better, because he gives them a bit of this sloppy feeling where they could be like, we've already talked about the Modest Mouse connection and stuff.
Yeah, but totally. No, that's it.
It's so good.
It's so fucking good.
So
man.
now we enter the section that we've done a million times where we just act so annoying about how cool and good Scott is.
Oh my God, when it gets fast?
Well, I'm gonna put on another live video. This is from, again, for all the Aussies out there, the Australian TV show Recovery, which played this. I just can't get over how cool this was. Like, the set is really cool. the host looks like a complete dork with an eyebrow ring, and then they have this like amazing Dude Ranch backdrop with the same font design as our tattoos, I might add.
I was going to say, when we were talking about Dude Ranch and the cover was up for me, like when I was looking at the lyrics, now when I see that, I feel like, because I mean, I see that tattoo every time I fucking shower. And like the hair still has not grown back. I don't understand it. It's still like a big bear patch on my incredibly hairy leg.
Your body's rejecting it.
Yeah, it's like, please, it's too dumb. It's amazing what a like emotional response I now have to seeing that era of a Blink logo, which I already had obviously tremendous like nostalgic feelings of affection for, but now I'm like,
it's also the reason I like it, and the reason why I like it as a tattoo is because it is really ugly and bad.
So ugly and bad. It's so
it's
fucking
like,
ugly.
Like it's like we got like the jankiest, ugliest tattoos possible.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted, because anything slicker would look like a Defend Pop Punk tattoo.
No, it was the only way to do it. And the next year when you come back, we'll get something else from the same shop's Blink-182 flash sheet. Did we ever publish those photos or not? Are those just like on my phone?
Oh, I think I put them on the story, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, if anyone out there is looking for a good Blink-182 tattoo idea, we've got a whole flash sheet from New Tribe in Toronto that we could share with you. So,
okay, well, let's watch this fucking video before we just keep going off the rails.
Yeah,
talking about our tattoos.
Man, from San Diego, currently on the Warped Tour, doing a song off Dude Ranch. Imagine it'll be titled Untitled. Here's Blink 182. Give it up!
We're ready!
You can really see Mark skanking on this video. It's like full. That's how you can tell it's a ska.
I think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. But now just as things change, as well my feelings do. With time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me regret those times I spent with you. And playing those games as I wait for your call. Now I give myself this one and it's gonna change your face. This time I'll get it right. It's gonna
So also Mark is wearing like his khakis. They look so fucking cool. His khakis are like kind of pulled up to his like nipples almost, and his shirt is tucked in, and then he's got like a visor on upside down.
Yeah, he's dressed like a generously, assuming that he's not being ableist in some way. He's dressed like a 1980s nerd sort of thing from a movie. Which I've also noticed because I watched a whole bunch of 80s horror movies recently, and I was reminded of, it's weird how in old 80s movies, like a nerd would be called a jerk. And now you call someone a jerk if they're like an asshole. But even like, I always thought that the movie The Jerk was weird. You know, like why the word jerk has definitively changed what it means in the last 30 years.
Yeah, well, there was like a swap, right? Because like back in the day, you also used to nerd off. And now that's also different. That's what happens when I try to do like a Josiah joke.
That was pretty good.
Yeah?
Nerd off. Oh my God. But like watching this video, I'm just like, I can actually understand why Tom doesn't want to do this anymore, because it already was perfect in 1998 and it has pretty much been on somewhat of a decline since then.
There's also
like this video is definitely better than anything from the Enema era.
It's so fucking cool looking, and it's also so obvious how much fun they're having. Like they genuinely look like they're enjoying themselves. That host was amazing. The crowd seems like weird, and you just imagine for them, they're like young guys, like their band is starting to take off. They're in Australia. They're playing on television. There's no way that wasn't like an amazing experience to be sharing as like friends. And then you think about the video that's been circulating from the sort of Las Vegas shows now that they've picked up again of them doing Obvious. And like for people that haven't seen it, it's like Skiba. It's honestly the worst Blink live video of all time, and we've shared,
which is crazy because there's so many.
Yeah, like you think of like
I found it. I think I can play.
Maybe we should play some of it because it's just like. Like, that's not someone, like, at least when Tom was, like, going off the rails and singing with marbles in his mouths, it was because, like, he grew up in that band. He wrote those songs. He was clearly fucking over it. He was battling addiction. There was, like, a lot of reasons why those performances are the train wrecks that they are.
Did we ever learn, actually, that he was battling addiction? We should probably do an episode about that.
Yeah, maybe. Or we shouldn't, because I already feel like it's not something I feel particularly equipped to address with any sensitivity.
Right. Well, I mean, I think our 9/11 episode was pretty sensitive.
For a 9/11 episode? For the 9/11 Memorial Extravaganza, which I was kind of like, oh, I wonder how this will go. It was fine. But, like, Matt Skiba's the hired gun. Like, he's the dude who they were like, well, that guy's gone, so let's bring in someone who, like, also can't sing. It's so strange, but there's just, like, there's no joy in that. Like, it just sounds like shit. It's like,
yeah,
you know, you look at them, they're not moving. You're just, like, relying on the pyro to do all the work for you, and you watch that, and it's, like, 100% the energy of the band and the energy of those songs in that moment, right?
And there still is some energy later on. I'm going to show you another video, but I feel like this was peak energy. Like 1998, playing Recovery TV show on Australia with a giant like Dude Ranch themed banner behind you. That's the peak right there. It doesn't get any better than that. And the rest of it is like going to MTV events and like becoming friends with celebs and like all kinds of shit that like probably feels fun at the time, but in the documentary of Blink-182, that's the pure moment that should be played in slow motion while everyone cries at the end.
Yeah, totally.
But with Travis, there was, I think this is also in...
Big Day Out is definitely an Australian festival.
Oh, fucking Australians, get away from me.
Right? I think so.
Yeah. But around I'm going to play around the 57-second mark when Tom's singing, so we'll just play it first.
I am so sick of chasing you, but what do I get? 'Cause I you made me.
So that interruption is because Mark has skanked over to his mic and just literally pushed him away from the microphone just to be a dick. And it's really, really adorable. I ship them. I ship them so hard.
God, they're so good. Also, like, the idea that this song was, like, such a live staple. Like, I don't think I realized, but, I mean, they're playing it on television. They're playing it at festival sets. Like, festival sets are for your hits, man. Like, this was a hit.
I know. It must have been. And, yeah, I mean...
Mark just, like, leaves the stage at some point. He, like, puts his bass down and just goes away.
Yeah, and I just think it's not sustainable to have fun that long, so you may as well go start your own space exploration company instead of trying to keep this going.
Well, I mean, that's it. At least, again, like, that's the honest thing, right? Like,
people were sending us also, like, there was one photo of Mark doing a fairly okay punk jump at the Vegas show. And, like, that's fine, but I don't know. It's just, it can never be the same.
No, I mean, it's just, like, you can never go home again. This is the San Diego episode all over again.
It's because it's fucking nostalgia season.
Yeah, man.
But this next thing I'm going to show you really sent me on a spiral. And I was looking through a lot of... Do you ever Google someone's name and then it shows you these like weird stalker websites that are called like Peak You or something? I mean, that happens to me a lot when I search people's names from like the pod or whatever, and I I Google the name and the city, there's always these like weird websites that seem to like pull all the data from Facebook and Yellow Pages and everything, but then they always want you to like pay to unlock the black bar, and I feel like it's such a scam.
Yeah, I mean that 100% is a scam. But just sort of like I'm not above like lurking and stalking people on the internet, but I have no idea what you're talking about. This isn't me like feigning ignorance. It sounds like some shady business that you're engaged in.
Well, I never click through. Sometimes I've been like, maybe I should just like see what happens if I give them my credit card, but I've never done it.
I think you would potentially, ruin your credit score for a very long time.
I mean, once again, it's such a Sam thing to assume that I don't have a bad credit score.
Yeah, okay.
But this video, did I already send it to you? Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
In Miami. This is Blink-182 Untitled live at the Warped Tour 97, Pompano. And they played this all the time at the Warped Tour. And the Warped Tour then is so pure and does remind me, I'm sorry to keep talking about Christian obscure music festivals, but it reminds me of videos of Tom Fest where it's just like a whole bunch of late 90s, quote, indie rock people who look... They look insane now. They all just wear white tank tops, but they're all on the stage at all times. There's no banners. Like, the old Warped Tour videos seem like pure chaos.
Yeah, it's nuts. Oh, it looks so fun.
Cool.
Oh, dude.
But just listen to the way Tom introduces the song. It's very interesting.
There's a girl named Stacy Gardner here somewhere that's a good friend of mine. I don't know where she's at. But say hi to her for me. It's written for her friends.
Now, I can't tell if he says Stacy Gardner or what, but let's listen to that again. See if you can make out what he says. But I need to find the Stacy person to find out who the friend is, because my brain is broken and I need to find all things.
The song is written, there's a girl named Stacy Gardner here somewhere that's a good friend of mine. I don't know where she's at. But say hi to her for me. It's written for her friends.
Maybe we should ask. So Rebecca from Classroom Crush, who's a friend of the pod and was on a previous episode, she I believe is from Miami, and so like maybe
so she might know Stacy. I just wish that he would enunciate a little bit more.
Well, we should.
I don't know if I can't tell if he's saying Stacy Gardner.
Okay, hold on.
There's multiple.
I'm gonna DM this. Maybe we'll find out by the end of this episode. So you vamp while I send this to her.
You're literally gonna send it to her. I think, isn't Miami a pretty big place? And the other problem,
yeah, but I don't think the punk scene was that big, right?
But I'm trying to figure out because I had the same thought. Like, I'll look for punk-looking people, and I also have found Blink-182's manager on Facebook, and he doesn't have his friends list private. I shouldn't have said that on here. But yeah, I found a Stacy on his friends list, but she has a hyphenated last name, and neither of them seem to be Gardner or anything. But then the other problem is, this was the Warped Tour, so was Stacy touring with them?
Oh, that's interesting.
And then even the crazier thing is, like, was Blink-182 so not big that they would just... arbitrarily shout out one random person and then say something very private? Yeah. Like this breakup song that is like very complex, and I couldn't even title it because it's so emotionally like strained, is for this chick Stacy's friend. So say hi to Stacy and ask her about her friend that
let's check
didn't work out with.
Okay, I'm sending Rebecca a message though, so let's find. Maybe we can get to the bottom of this before our time here is up.
So just to clarify, you're thinking that if you message someone who's in their 20s,
yeah, she's definitely like I think in her early 20s. So like
who happens to be from the same state as where this video in 1997,
the same city again. Right. You know, like think about it, in Calgary, like KJ from Chicks Dig It, right? Even though he's like a generation older than you. Right? Maybe.
Right. But you're like, do you know Stacy from Miami?
Hold on. I'm going to mention that Josiah thinks this is stupid.
Send her the video, too.
I'm obviously, because I don't know the name. I'm saying, do you know someone who knows this person? Anyway, I'm making it clear.
Okay, good. I mean, that would be a pod miracle.
Well, you know what? Stranger things have happened.
The real problem is that we're trying to find Stacy's friend. So this is just a dead end, I think, from day one.
Yeah.
But we do know that it was written about a real person, so I guess that does maybe explain why most of the lyrics are not strained, other than that one backwards ass sentence.
Yeah, like it's actually like, Tom was sad, but also blamed himself a little bit.
So how do you feel about the sketch at the end of the song?
I mean, it's weird, man. It's so weird. I don't have a real opinion on it. I knew it was coming. Like, it's one of those things where so much of my experience with this record we talked about is like, this was a CD that I owned that was in my Discman, and so you were always listening to it in its entirety. Like, this was not broken up by like downloading MP3s or playlisting. So it as part of the sort of cohesive experience of listening to Dude Ranch, it's just part of the tapestry of this album. Like, I don't really know that I have an opinion about its like goodness or badness, except that like it is so weird that it's there.
Yeah, I think it might come to play. It might play into what we're talking about, how they were just like clearly having fun.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I don't remember if we talked about this last time or not, but I know they had, Mark Trombino, who recorded it, who refuses to go on the pod, he had like a sound effects machine that they were playing with, and that's where all this comes from.
Really?
So like, that explains why, like, yeah, so, oh, that's probably something we should have mentioned. I'm reading Unwritten Law frontman Scott Russo donated a few vocal tracks to Josie. So too bad we've already done that. Wow. I've like literally never just read the wiki for this stuff. Like, just like the first place you should go. To find all this stuff.
Wow.
But according to Ann Hoppus's book, I'm not just saying Ann Hoppus as if you would say an honor. Like, I'm not saying a Hoppus like Mark. I'm saying Ann, the name,
right?
Not
okay.
A-N.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
But it is weird how H words sometimes you say Ann before instead of a. So just to clarify, since this is a grammar pod now,
it's important. Yeah, we're delving into the meaning and use of language.
But yeah, according to her book, the Mark Trombino had like a sound effects machine. So they must have just been dicking around with they clearly didn't like. No one was like passing the script around and punching up jokes for these sketches.
I wish there was like writer credits on this. And you're like, oh yeah, it definitely has a quippy kind of Joss Whedon vibe. Oh, look at this.
Or like, I mean, definitely around this time it would have been written by Bob Odenkirk or something.
Right, totally. But no, it just seems like a throwaway thing that sort of adds to the like. I also love that the skits on this record always seem to sort of come at the expense of the serious songs. Like, it's not like Voyeur gets a skit. It's like, the skits are sort of designed to be the joke that sort of breaks the tension of the more like emotionally weighty moments on the record, which is like very adolescent.
I like that it's multiple women screaming too. Like, was Mark about to have like group sex, but then they saw some fucked up things on his pecker, and then they didn't want to, and they screamed?
I mean, that seems like the implication for sure.
And then I'm just curious what it was that would have elicited such a massive reaction. I mean, I'm a little bit tempted to go on like a Google image search for the most fucked up penile problems.
Oh, they were just going to look up like Mark Hoppus's dick.
Well, we have seen his balls, remember?
Oh,
from
that's
the Josie
true.
episode.
But they were like normal balls.
Yeah, true.
Maybe he has a really remunerated dick.
From too much nerding off, I believe.
Right.
Is the problem.
Young folks, though, that's just how it goes. They can't keep their hands not on their. Anyway, fuck, I don't know.
I was a little worried that this episode was going to be too short, so I did look up. This isn't. Well, yeah, this is going to be annoying, actually, I think, but. I did look up some YouTube reviews of Dude Ranch, and I love like in a post needle drop world. Did he invent the YouTube album review? Like, who really? Where do you draw that line?
I'll be honest, I have no idea, but I mean, you certainly no one else is like anywhere near as like anywhere near as popular as him. So it's like he owns that format. It's almost like there's no other room for anybody.
Right, but it still seems like there are a lot of little kids who have tried to do it. There was even this little kid whose video reviews I thought were so hilariously inept, and he was like 14, that I actually sent him the Grown Ups album when it came out.
Really?
And he reviewed it, and he said that he liked all of it, but there was too much chick vocals.
Oh.
And it was so funny, but then he must have gotten embarrassed of his channel because he deleted it all.
Oh.
But yeah, it was really funny. I love. It's almost refreshing having been around so many like blowhard, wannabe intellectual music critics to just see like some kid in his room saying the dumbest shit ever.
Right, yeah. It's so, yeah, like YouTube album reviews is the strangest, most like, I don't know, like seemingly useless subgenre outside of Fantano. Like, he's so popular, and there's I don't even know who the number 2 is. Like, there's like some people that do like more genre specific stuff. Like, you know, there's like Dead End Hip Hop does like good hip hop shit, and then like Banger does really good metal stuff. But like on a sort of like
Banger, as they call it in Mississauga.
Yeah, on an omnipresent level, there's no one. But then there's just like hundreds of kids that want to be Fantano, doing these like incredibly lo-fi webcam videos, which it looks like is exactly what you've sent me here, where it's like,
let's check
Dude
this one
Ranch.
out. This is uploaded by Cole Smith in 2013. I'll get to the part where he talks about the song in a second, but let's watch the intro.
I said I do all the Blink reviews, and the last time I did one was a while ago. Sorry, I can't make videos as frequently as I used to. I have a job, and the band's kind of doing a lot lately. Back to practicing, and I got stuff going on. But I'm going to give you a review for Dude Ranch. I'm going to start it off by saying it's my favorite Blink album because it shows like their old stuff. It's like Cheshire Cat and Animal Combined. Came out in 1997. This was their.
It's like Cheshire Cat and Enema Combined did.
I mean, look, he's got a better command of language than I do, so.
But here's what he says. I got to the part where he breaks down the track listing, thankfully. So let's. I got to the relevant part. We'll get to in a second.
Oh, good.
Their better songs. What I'm surprised was a hit. I don't remember Enthused, so I'm not going to go over it. Sorry. Untitled. A lot of people like this one because it starts off with Tom and a catchy beat, kind of like a nursery rhyme. Gets fast, picks up. It's a pretty good track. Apple Shampoo.
Yeah. Picks up a pretty good track. Hell yeah, man.
That was basically the first half of the pod.
Yeah, like it's much more efficient too.
But I love also that he was like, Enthused, don't remember that one, not going to talk about it. It's like, just put it on then. If you're going to talk, like, just listen to it for a sec, and then you'll remember it.
I guess he's saying it was forgettable, though. Like, I appreciate that. Just like, nah, it's not for me.
Well, look, don't make me start the Enthused episode right now. That song is not fucking forgettable.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But I didn't want to just leave, I didn't want to only have one critical voice in here discussing Dude Ranch, so I thought we could also check in with the review from Cam Videos for You, which I feel like must have some accidental sketchy subscribers.
Oh, no.
This is also from 2013. I don't know why everyone was doing video reviews of this. But the opening shot is just stunning. It's bedspread with a remote control. I haven't really pre-screened this one, so let's just go into this together. I did skip ahead to one good part, but let's just check out the start.
Okay.
Well, hello there. I'm Karen Bush, and I'm going to review Dude Ranch, Blink-182. This is my favorite of all the Blink-182 albums.
Yeah. Cam Videos for You.
Yeah, I'm going to review it today. Well, tonight it's dark out.
It's not today.
No, that's right. This morning. It's like,
Wait,
yeah, I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
He's wearing a Bazinga shirt, by the way.
I know. I think he talks about it in a sec, but what does he say? He said, it's not the night I mean, it's not today, it's the night because it's dark. But then I think he says like,
Then
I
it's
don't
like,
give a fuck.
I feel like then he's
said-
like, it's the morning. I was like, what?
But then he says something sassy. Let's listen.
Well, tonight it's dark out. It's about, that's right, it's this morning. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I think he does show off his Bazinga shirt pretty well, but I did remember seeing a good spot where he's just
licking the balls on the bull.
Wait, what?
Like, if you go to like 104, dude. He just like so he's like he just starts kissing and licking the balls.
The ball sack, famous ball sack on the cover. On the bull there. Here's the track.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. He just reads the whole track listing.
Number 1, number 2, Voyeur, 3, Damn It, that's my favorite song off here. 4, Boring, 5, Dick Lips, 6, Waggy, 7, Enthused, 8, Untitled.
So we got to Untitled. I just made sure we get to Untitled.
Oh, that's
so
good.
That seems like a really, really good review.
I just love mostly his channel is like, you know, some like acoustic covers of songs I've never heard of, and then his only 2 reviews are a Blink-182 Dude Ranch review, which we are currently watching, and then Semisonic Feeling Strangely Fine review. Like those are, and they're both.
He's ahead. He knows his power pop.
That's it. It really is nostalgia season for us all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love that kid. I hope to revisit that video in full. But there's another thing I found while I was and I literally did, this is again how much of a sickness I have. I just searched the word dude ranch for a while, and there was a lot of videos of people on vacation in ranches that I'll probably punish you with one day. But
okay.
I found something pretty fucking amazing that might even outdo the scooped up band that I showed you at the start. So to prove that nostalgia season is fully here, there's a pop punk band that I found called Dude Ranch 469. And they have 2 incredible songs. So this one is called The Wanker.
Sorry, is 469 like actually them combining the weed number and the almost sex number?
I think it really is, yeah. So this one, of course, every one of these bands, their videos always has a long intro of someone skateboarding somewhere else. So I'm just going to skip ahead. Hopefully the song, it's not too weird of a spot. This is from this year, and it sounds like that.
Yo, pop punk? This is very exciting for me because, like, the idea that, like, pop punk is maybe returning to the stuff that you and I like and isn't just this, like, defend pop punk shit that, like, we are not super stoked on is, like, dude, it's happening. Like, it's really happening.
So I saved the best for second, I guess. This song is called Punk Rabbit. Or maybe it's just called Rabbit, although the video says Punk Rabbit on it, and there's an animated rabbit. And it sounds even more... Yeah, like, somehow they've stopped trying to make everything sound so fresh and, like, freshly Tide scented and clean and, like, brand new expensive merch. And now it just seems like they're all, like, gross, shitty skaters with BO again.
Yeah, all of these bands' merch stinks.
But not in, like, a crust. It's like a new old kind of stink where it doesn't smell like a crust punk or like a street punk kind of person. It's more of like a ball sack smell, I'm going to say.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, musty balls.
Whoa. I mean, they obviously are ripping off quite a few Blink-182 things in there, but I love it.
Oh, it's so good. This band is fucking great. I also I have an unfortunate update regarding Stacy from Miami, which is that
Let me guess.
she is dead. She's just canceled. No, Rebecca unfortunately does not know Stacy.
She doesn't know Stacy from Miami, really?
From Miami, but she seemed like very committed. She Stacy. Fuck, I don't know. I feel like this will also drive me insane. So anyway, Blink-155 is nothing if not a sickness that we are infecting you all with. So.
Yeah, and it's a stalking service, I think. So
Yeah,
let's find
it's also
Stacy and let's make her
PQ.
talk about her friend.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know. So as we sort of like sort of twist towards covers and get sort of into that zone of thinking here, because I think we've talked about the song a little bit too much, if anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we do that, though, last week I mentioned that, and again, this is still going on. So if anyone listening works for like the Geek Squad or something, I don't know. First of all, I have a problem where I can't look up computer problems because I don't have the patience to read through a whole forum post. Because it's always like someone like says the problem that I'm having with my computer, and then the second person is like, I need to know the exact make and model of your computer and the day of the week that you purchased it and what your desktop looks like and where the mouse is located. Like, it's just like so fucking irritating. So I can't pay attention, but I am having this problem where for some reason when I use Chrome, the internet just stops working on Chrome 10 minutes in every time. So I'm using Safari and it feels insane and terrible and I hate it.
I can't believe you're still using Safari. Yeah.
Because I tried reading the forum post like 3 times and it's so irritating. I can't do it. So maybe someone just DM me and tell me what to do to make Chrome work again. But I'm on Safari, and so because of that, there are so many ads everywhere. I don't know if you can even get ad block for Safari. But as I was searching for covers, I got served this ad, which I believe that scary link will work if you click it.
Yeah, like, are you infecting me with whatever terrible virus you have? What
Hopefully.
is this?
Yeah, did it work?
Yeah, it's just a punk rock type beat.
Yeah.
So this is like a
upload-
backing track that they're selling you?
I guess maybe it was listening to us talking about bed tracks last week, but this shitty backing track that I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to advertise with like the word Blink-182 and this like sus GIF, or not GIF, but like cutout filter photo of them.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they're using Blink-182 to sell this. There's an image of Blink-182 on this.
Yeah, the thumbnail is Blink-182.
Yeah. But either way, this actually sounds better than She's Out of Her Mind, in my opinion.
All
So I'm
right.
going to play it. This is by Mata Tracker. She said, settle down, settle down.
I just
So,
it's like you're just sharing ads with me now, right? I just want to make sure that I understand exactly what's happening. Okay.
But I mean, like, it's a Blink ad that I got because no one will help me fix this computer.
Right. So this is just it. Like many things on this podcast, this is a cry for help.
Yeah. Well, someone did say to me, like, I like how everything that you're just sort of marginally interested in, you can just talk about on here and people will go along for the ride. So I am truly just trying to get some help with my computer, please.
Okay, cool.
So let's do some covers. How about?
All right. Oh, a bit of an update about Stacy from Miami. Rebecca thinks that she sounds like a poser. So we are now spreading rumors about Stacy from Miami. So
Stacy Gardner.
yeah,
Like, Tom, come on. Come on.
I know. Enunciate.
If you want us to know who she is all these decades later, and then find out who her friend is.
Yeah.
But I was even like digging through song meanings and everything, trying to figure out like who is Stacy. I thought someone would know, but no one had seen that. Even on that video, there was no comments about it. There was just comments about please remove the watermark because it's annoying to look at.
Oh yeah, because there's that big Hotmail address right across the front.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of quaint to have a Hotmail address.
Yeah, I liked it.
So not a lot of people have done very much with this song.
So what are you gonna do with it then, Josiah?
I didn't want to show you that one yet.
Oh.
This one first. Let's do some acousties first.
Okay.
But I deleted a whole bunch that were just boring and the same, and that fucking Sab Sababda guy that we keep watching. Fuck
Okay.
that guy.
Okay.
He's canceled. So instead, I don't know how to say this guy's name without sounding like I'm saying something mean, but I think his name is just Jew.
Wait. Who? The thing you just sent me?
The SoundCloud link here.
Silva 182.
No, but read the name of the song. Covered by Jew.
Oh, weird. Well, it looks like he's tagged it as #Julio and #Silva. So maybe,
Okay, so maybe it's Julio.
Yeah.
So then when you abbreviate Julio like that, would you say who?
What?
Who's on first?
Yeah.
Who's cover? Yeah, this is I deleted the other ones because this one is just very odd and I like it. So it's uploaded by Silva182, but it's a cover by who? Oh, I right clicked. That would have been so good if I did it on.
That was
weird.
not what I expected, and yeah, it was like very strange, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
It felt like a
too.
weird old Mountain Goat song where I'd be like, it's not my favorite Mountain Goat song, but I like what he's doing,
Yeah, it was definitely on some Pace Magazine indie shit.
Totally.
I could see it on someone's Last FM with Cassio Tone or one of the other two bands that we mention every week.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't said the word Jandek this week, so we should say that one.
Yeah, gotta get that one out. I would scrabble that.
Yeah, I would scrabble the shit out of that. Let's keep it in the acoustic zone. Someone we haven't visited in a little while with his Michael Showalter looking ass is Odie Acoustic.
Yeah. Fucking Coop.
And as you could expect, it's another just insanely earnest, overly fraught cover. I don't know. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but it's just funny.
His outfit looks super cozy, though.
Even the way he fixes his hair, it's okay, again, you've clearly edited this video. You could just, nudge it, just trim it half a second to not show you fixing your hair at the start. But if you're making emo sounding music, you have to be fixing your hair all the time.
It's important to let the people know that you have fixed your hair.
And yet when I say you're fixing it, I mean that you're unfixing it because you're mussing it a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's really that emotional muss.
I think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. But now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me regret those times I spent with you and playing those games. 'Cause I wait for your call and now I give up. So goodbye and so long. It's not a change of pace. This time I'll get it right.
I think I love Odie Acoustic. I loved that.
I was literally just thinking the same thing. It's so good.
That was so wonderful.
He manages to really not sound like he's trying to get laid.
Yeah, it's
just like he's just like, oh, I'm good at guitar and good at singing, and here's a nice cover that I did because I'm nice and I look like Coop, but when he's like older and settled down.
Yeah, old Coop for sure. Yeah, it's somehow not like fratty, just like I'm the sensitive guy. Like it's just like this is just Odie expressing himself, and like also the song is so fucking good, and it works so well in this context.
It really does. I don't know. I mean, I think that's also why I usually skip the Odie acoustics because they're just like good, and it's kind of boring to talk about good things.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Odie's great. Does he have like an album? Can I like just download this and listen to it all the time or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think other people listen to it all the time too. Who listen to the pod? They're like, "Oh yeah, I love listening to Odie acoustic." I don't know. I mean, also you could listen to other stuff as well. You don't have to listen to Dude Ranch all the time. We could all stand to grow up a little bit and move on with our lives.
Well, yeah, don't worry. I've added the Scooped Up album already to my music library. So I'm really I'm branching out here.
But this person, and now I'm very. Okay, first of all, don't read the name yet because that's hilarious on its own. But I found someone who did a cover of the Odie acoustic version.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how beloved Odie acoustic is. And I didn't read the name before, but now I see this person's name is Ben Cook.
Oh, wow. It's No Warning frontman Ben Cook.
Yeah.
Throwing it up for the great one, Odie acoustic.
I don't think it's him. I don't know if he...
I want to definitively say on this podcast, this is Ben Cook. This is Young Gov himself from No Warning, from Fucked Up.
I think Ben Cook is capable of a lot of things and is an obscenely talented musician. And maybe this is me throwing down the gauntlet if he wants to. But I don't think that he's capable of making like earnest dashboard-ass music without a hint of irony in it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, except that we're looking at proof that the opposite is true.
That's true. So let's listen to what Ben Cook did.
From Fucked Up and No Warning.
He does have a very metal guitar behind him.
He's got a big old...
I think a while ago we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. So now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me regret those times I spent with you and playing those games. 'Cause I wait for your call, but now I give up. So goodbye and so long. It's not a change of pace. This time I'll get it.
So there's something magical about this arrangement of the song that is so like sincere and uplifting and earnest. And I'm looking at this video and there are so many, like, I just want to say there are so many things that deserve to be roasted in here. Like he clearly grooms himself after Logan from the Wolverine movies.
Yeah, like transparently so. Yeah.
He's wearing like the ultimate youth pastor necklace, and he literally has like a katana or something in the background.
Oh, he does, yeah.
And there's like a Zelda square. Like, this guy is such a geek that it would be so fun to mock him. But I watched this video and I'm just like, I love this guy. I want to give him a hug. I want to hang out with him. I don't want to hang out with cool people anymore. I want to hang out with this guy. This guy's cool now. All of this stuff is now cool because of this video.
And also, I mean, I want to hang out with him because, I really loved the last Young Gov solo album. And yeah, I mean,
Right.
I just think, he was great on the pod when you interviewed him and he talked about Sum 41.
Right.
So yeah, I think I love the Warlock, the BC Rich just hanging in the background is like also. Does this guy have like sick metal videos that he does too?
I don't know. Like, he seems like someone I would love to roast, but I can't because he's unroastable because he's just a sweet boy who deserves a hug.
Yeah, here's to the sweet boy Ben Cook.
All right, there's a few other weird ones. This one seems like the ultimate bad fest cover. Just even the artwork is like so bad. There's a bunny smoking a cig and drinking a Victoria bitter ale, and it says, I don't even know how, is that even a word? The conflagration of capital.
Yeah.
We're just okay. Yeah, it is a word. I was hoping that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So that it's true expose fest people season for not using real words, but it is a word. It just means fire that damages property. But yeah, this just looks. The cover is just the artwork is just awful.
Yeah, this is deeply fest.
Yeah, and the username is noticeably FAT, except the artist is Kariko. Oh my god, I should really like. While I'm researching and doing literally all of the work, I should also double check these things to see who is who.
You could try harder.
But I'm gonna figure out who. I don't know who Kariko is. Whatever. Let's just listen to this fucking thing.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go.
I think of a while ago.
I already wish this wasn't happening.
I was so stupid then. You needed time to grow, but now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange. I am so sick of chasing you, but what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me
I'm tempted to play the whole.
I know you are.
with you and playing those games as I wait for.
Like, when you love, I just want to say, like, how actions have consequences. I just want to say that when you encourage people to be, quote, brothers in arms singing along, this is the end result of that.
It is,
and
yeah,
therefore,
totally.
this is your fault.
Yeah, I certainly accept some responsibility. No, this is like the worst. First of all, like the conflagration of capital is the most like I read a couple of Brendan Kelly blog posts and now I constantly want to use the longest, most unnecessary words possible. Like, and I love the Lawrence Arms and I love Brendan Kelly, but it's like there's this like real like I'm smart even though I'm drinking thing that is like super insufferable in that community. And then that particular thing,
And I think that's interesting because I'm dumb and not drinking, and I think that's the better version.
100%, yeah. And then there's like this thing that happens when you'll play like a house show, and then the bands will be done, and it'll be like, hey, fucking Chris is he's gonna play acoustic in the kitchen now, and you're like, cool, man, we're just gonna keep like hanging out in the basement or in the backyard drinking and talking because I do not want to be a part of that. They'll be like, everyone's going into the kitchen. They'll be kind of, you should. And you're like, I'm good. I'm really good. And then they like make you feel weird about it. And then you like go into the kitchen and it's that for like half an hour and everyone's like being really sincere and into it. And you just want to like dissolve into a puddle and forget that this is what you
just want to
decided to do.
conflagrate the whole house
You
down.
do, exactly. So yeah, that is like full flashbacks to like the worst things about a community that I'm otherwise, deeply affectionate towards.
Well, we'll work on the rest of that stuff, dismantling it as the pod goes on. But yeah, that part is also bad. But let's move on. I feel like we've played this guy before because this picture looks familiar. But this is Dan Warburton, and this is sort of the exact opposite, just like the most princely porcelain man folk cover, where you just feel like he's going to shatter at any moment. So let's listen to that.
I think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. But now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? 'Cause I just seem to lose. You make me regret those times I spent with you, and playing those games as I wait for your call. And now I give up, so goodbye and so long.
Oh my God, I heard his little saliva in his mouth.
Yeah, that was like some more like really getting in these mouths lately on the pod.
I'm curious what you thought of that one.
I liked when he went really high, and I thought, I'm worried about this person. Like that just like that note might literally cause them to kind of shatter into a million little pieces.
Like such a sensitive boy.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything negative because I'm just like I want them to be okay.
Yeah. I kind of loved it. I think I was expecting to roast it, but I think I loved it.
I'm feeling very affectionate towards all of these people.
And I also feel like I keep thinking about ads lately, probably because like we keep hearing songs that remind us of like medication ads, or I was served the Blink-182 ad, and then this one was making me think of like whenever you see like this was the best ad of the year, and then it's always like some British like. British like Walker's crisps. They made this ad and it's like 6 minutes long, and it's about a lorry driver who couldn't make it home in time for Christmas, but then magically the Queen, I don't know, like some shit. Like I was like picturing this like beautiful Christmas British ad and thinking about Walker's crisps, and I was really into it.
Yeah, man, totally.
So, once again, just things that I'm moderately curious about, or I talk about on here, and then lots of people listen and then talk about it online. So
this is totally normal. It's a totally normal process.
That's what life is. I'm going to play 2 more covers.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wrap this shit up.
Sick.
So this one, I don't think we're going to play all of the versions of this, but for some reason, this band has uploaded like shitty live bootlegs recordings of them playing this live. They've uploaded all kinds of shit, and I can't even really tell what this is. I can't tell if it's a joke or not. I can't tell what kind of music it is. Everything about it is so confusing. So the band is ITVOTL, but I think it stands for something else. Because I think they might even have different band camps, because when I searched it, oh, fuck, yeah. I'm so confused.
Or is the name of the band Fabula Fabulous? Or is that the album?
That's the album. So the album has, like, in addition to this, they cover McCluskey, and they cover other stuff. And then they have a song called A Shit-Eating Grin Has Never Looked This Good, which is a pretty dumb title, because shit-eating grins generally are satisfying. It means that someone is being funny.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to find the other ones because I can find out what the full band name is. But this band's from Austin.
I guess I feel like a bit of like context clues in terms of being an electro folk band from Austin that covers McCluskey. I sort of have a feeling they're not being serious.
Yeah. But also like, and that's how I feel about McCluskey too. Like, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but like not to me, not satisfying. Like, it's just aesthetically kind of bad. and like the design of their banner on here and all their look of their art and song titles is like not my thing.
You're right about this band, but you're wrong if that's what you're trying to imply about McCluskey.
Well, we'll see. But let's listen to this band. You know what? It's important, especially as you get older, it's important to be able to recognize when you're wrong about something. And that was actually good.
Yeah, that was so good.
I think I skipped around it. I skipped around it to get a vibe, and it was too weird to skip around. And I was really grossed out by the artwork on the banner. It really,
The artwork
truly
is
bothered
bad.
me.
Yes, like in a
So because
gross
of how
way.
bad the artwork was, I was like, "There's no way this is good," and I skipped around too quickly. But listening to it as a whole, it's good.
Yeah, that was so
I
awesome.
apologize to everyone, and I did find they have another Bandcamp where they have like a horrible lo-fi live recording of it, and the full name is In the Vein of Tom Levin. So I don't know what that means. It's a really bad band name again. Like aesthetically, there's a lot of things that make me frustrated about this band, but that was good.
Yeah, it was so good.
Finally, this one musically is whatever, but there's quite a few things that are worth discussing. So I'm going to play it first, and then we'll talk about it after. So this is by Alex Tessier and Elias Boner Corey.
You really leaned into that, eh?
Yeah, I had to.
See for you first.
Think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid then, you needed time to grow. But now just as things change, as well my feelings do. In time things rearrange, I am so sick of chasing you. But what do I get? I just seem to do. You made me regret the I spent with you. And playing those games as I wait for your.
All right, that's quite enough from you guys.
So they're from Hamilton, though, down the highway.
They are from Hamilton. So that's one important thing. So this is Alex and Elias's shitty covers from Hamilton, just two brothers. But I want you to read, and I'm not sure if you're going to remember, but I want you to read the description ahead of the lyrics.
Sick Blink song. Thank you, love you. Shout out to Taylor Clara.
And do you remember who Taylor Clara is? If not, it's pretty great.
Is Taylor one of the Play Online Songs girls?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're back in the mix now.
Did you
from
reach
this, I
out?
guess.
Did you see?
I didn't have
what the-
time. I found this like an hour ago.
Oh, I'm busy sending emails trying to find Stacy in Miami. Meanwhile, there's like a much more relevant connection right under our noses.
Well, yeah. I mean, this here it is. We're putting it out here in the open. So this is dedicated to Taylor Clara of Play Online Songs, I assume. Now, again, there could be more Taylor Claras, but is Hamilton? How far is Hamilton? How close is Hamilton to Mississauga?
I mean,
I'm just trying to get this is mostly an Ontario geography podcast,
Right.
if anything.
Yeah, it's
else.
40 minutes down the highway. Maybe not even from Mississauga. Maybe half an hour.
Yes. Right. So half an hour, that's not too
Depending
far.
on where
I mean,
you
I
are
think-
in Mississauga, traffic. But at night with no traffic, half an hour. if you're close to a
I think-
highway.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that they haven't played online songs for her, but
Yeah, it seems sort of cruel to
like the one thing you should do. Instead, they've uploaded their Untitled cover twice.
And that's it. So they have a whole covers album. Wow, that's it. That's
Yeah, it's just this one song.
Gotta
so
say.
they really can't figure much out. But
bit of a
do
boner,
agree-
if you will.
I do agree. Shout out Taylor Clara.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I know that Play Online Songs has gone dormant because Blink-182 keeps canceling their Ontario shows, but it's still Taylor Clara season in our hearts.
Of course, it always
Shout
is.
out to her.
Still like an all-time great exclusive, by the way, too. Should we be just like a little seeker sensitive here, which is like a very early sort of sign that
Like,
this.
let's be secret sensitive at the 110-minute mark of.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. That's so sick.
That's that.
So, Josiah, what are your final thoughts on the song Untitled by Blink-182?
It's really good.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's like, I just really do appreciate hearing it outside of the context of the album because I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, this is like one of those things where, like, again, this process has just, like, given me a fresh appreciation for a song I already knew that I loved. And we didn't even really talk about how sick it is when it gets fast. Like, we just said that Scott Raynor rules. But, like, it's so sick when it gets fast, and that's my final thought.
Right. And much to the chagrin of the people who complain about memers as guests, but we do have a memer as a guest this week. But it's one of the best, smartest, and funniest memers out there, and a fan of the pod. It's Miles Grimmer. You can find him online at pre-Miles. And we shoot the shit. We talk about... He's the one who conceived ska season, and so we make some predictions about what the next season will be in terms of culture. And we talk about meme life. And then all of that is a lead up to what will come out soon, which is me and him for literally 2 hours... rated Blink-182 memes. So look for that soon as well.
I think of a while ago, we might have had it all. I was so stupid that you needed time to grow.
Welcome to the pod, Miles Grimmer. I just told you I was going to bullshit, but I got nothing to say. So
thanks.
There's your welcome.
Yeah, no vamping. Here I am. I'm on the pod.
You finally made it. Although this isn't your first time on the pod.
That's right. This is my my first free appearance, though.
Right. And we really did not give you much royalties for the last appearance.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm still waiting on those, but when they come, I'm sure I'll be cashing that check. I also feel like my entry on the Blink-155 will be longer than a stub after this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for people who don't know, for people who aren't behind the paywall, which, like, shame on you, but basically Miles is the reason for ska season. I mean, we can give it away now.
Ska season.
Yeah, it's over, right? I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it's like, and we're going to talk about this later, but it's kind of like Blink-182 memes. It's like, once it gets to a certain level, it's no longer a season. It's just like, it's whatever. It's window dressing. And at this point, I see black and white checkers and I feel nothing.
Yeah, same, dude.
But to read it, like, for people who haven't listened, you at one point posted on your Instagram, pre-Miles, which is one of my favorite Instagram accounts for sure. But you posted that something about ska coming back this year?
Yeah, I think the exact phrasing I used was, this was in like November, December of 2017. And the phrase I used was ska will be huge in 2018. And I kind of was, and like for a while it felt like it was. Like when they were announcing like that, like ska fest in Southern California. And I mean, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, if you just, once you like hear a word for the first time or something, you keep seeing it over and over again.
Right.
So yeah. And then eventually it just, once you start recognizing a pattern, you see it, and then at a certain point you realize ska isn't huge in 2018, so you move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess that does mean that it's basically been a year since you so presciently. Oh God, why do I try to pronounce words that I don't know how to pronounce? Since you predicted that ska would be back, it's been about a year, and so like, what are you feeling for 2019?
Yeah, I think dubstep. I think the 10. I feel like I used to feel like 10-year cycles were when things became retro, but I feel like culture is collapsing, so. It's like less than 10 years. I feel like dubstep was huge in like the early 2010s. And I think like Skrillex style wobbles.
Interesting. I mean, you know what? I'm doing the math here, and this episode is coming out on the day that Steve Aoki's new album with a Blink-182 collaboration drops. So I think it literally, you might once again, I mean, you're like an oracle of trash.
Yeah, Skostradamus.
Oh my God. I was thinking that maybe like Bloghouse would come back, like Justice style, or like all over print hoodies.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that'll come back in like hip culture, but I think I feel like maybe the wobbles will come back in like bro EDM.
And I think that's really the issue with ska, is that it only. And I know there's like actual ska fans who listen to this for some reason who are so offended by the things we say about ska. But I think ska really only came back in like a very internet ironic sort of way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Except I will say, I guess there's this band from LA called the Interrupters or something, which is like, I think they're on Hellcat Records, and they sound like a Rancid spinoff. But they played them on the adult contemporary station in my town. And it like blew my mind, but that also was like past my interest in ska coming back. So it, just elicited nothingness in me.
I mean, maybe the real issue is that there's no middle class between irony and normie adult contemporary radio. So there's nowhere for these things to come back to. There's nothing in the middle.
I know it's a real stratified taste thing in culture right now. What a shame.
I mean, it's finally time for people like us to thrive.
Yeah, finally, the white guys have their day.
Exactly. So you live in Bloomington, right?
Yes, I live in Bloomington, Indiana.
And what's the deal with that place? Are you a big Planet X guy?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, Chris is like a sex pest, and he sucks, and like he's dead to everyone, I think. Which I don't know. I don't know how to talk about that like delicately, because like he like did like basically hurt like real people in the community and shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think that Bloomington has like a rock history like that goes back really long, like into the 70s. Like there's like early proto punk bands. Like the Gizmos and MX80 Sound and stuff. And then I did like when I was like 13 or 14 or even younger, like some of the first punk bands I heard were the ones that were like making a point to give their music away online, like Bomb the Music Industry or like Defiance, Ohio. Right. And and so like in that sense, like I was exposed to that stuff. And I don't know. Bloomington does have like I think it has a really distinct sense of place. And I also think it has like disproportionate amount of influence in like rock music for the size of town it is and stuff. Like, because like Secretly Canadian is here, and I don't know.
Yeah, right. And a bone to pick I have with Secretly Canadian is that all of the actual Canadian bands are on Jaguar, so I think they should switch the names. It's always bothered me. Can you tell them that?
Yeah, I'll be sure to. I'll march right on down to the offices.
Are all those labels there? Like, are they on the same place? Dead Oceans and all that?
I think Dead Oceans, Jag, and Secretly operate from the same office.
So there's a lot of like tall, handsome 40-year-old guys with salt and pepper hair, just like walking around, talking about tasteful indie rock.
And when the secretly Summit week when all the other label people from the world come to Bloomington for like a week and like hang out at bars. That it's just like this odd indie rock presence in like a town that otherwise would just be like, people say Bloomington's like the Portland of the Midwest, but it's way more just like the Columbia, Missouri of Indiana. It's just like there's like a small college town in every state, and that's what Bloomington's like.
It's definitely not a reference I understand, but I respect it.
Yeah, word.
Did you say it's what did you say? The Columbia, it's the Missouri of Indiana or something?
It's the Columbia. People say that Bloomington's the Portland of Indiana, but it's actually like the Columbia, Missouri of Indiana.
So is that, okay. I mean, I believe you.
Like state school, college town.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's interesting because I feel like I've never lived in a very cool place. I mean, I lived in Vancouver for a while, but it was like Vancouver's pretty big and spread out, and it feels like a big city. But there are these cool littler cities where there's so much shit popping off. And like, does that mean that were you a snob your whole life growing up? Did you have like an embarrassing music phase?
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, definitely. Like, when I was a kid, I mean, I'm not like embarrassed by it now because it like is a part of me. And like, I think I feel like, so my dad's like favorite band is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So like growing up, that was my first favorite band. And so I have like a deep love for that band despite their like reputation.
Right.
Which I've come to accept as I've gotten older. But like, growing up, I got into music in like 2004. So the first bands I heard were like Franz Ferdinand and Modest Mouse, which was like a good time to get into music, I think.
Definitely.
And then also like, Make Believe by Weezer and American Idiot by Green Day came out, and like, I was too, for whatever reason, like either because I was really online as a kid or like I read it in the newspaper or something, like I got it in my head that it would be embarrassing to listen to modern Weezer and modern Green Day. And so I like sought out the old stuff, even though like I was only surrounded by other 13-year-olds who didn't care. I think I grew up in like a crappy Indiana town called Franklin. Where like I was pretty socially isolated, and so like I just found music on the internet basically, and like a lot of my opinions were informed by things that like guys on the internet wrote and weren't based on my actual taste.
Like, were you reading like message boards or something?
Yeah, totally. I was reading like message boards and like punknews.org and just like early kind of tacky internet music culture that like really informed my taste for no good reason.
And now, like, I feel like especially around that time was like the peak of this, and I thought I missed it now, but maybe I don't, like this sort of like us versus them mentality of like extreme snobbiness. Like, I guess that's also when the term hipster really popped up and was blossoming.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I feel like things have changed a lot since then, basically. Like, I feel like there's more cross-pollination between like genre and scene now. I mean, I just kind of feel like stuff is flattened too. Like it feels like there isn't as deep as an underground to me anymore. But maybe that's just because I'm like actually in it now and it's not just like in my imagination. But I don't know.
I mean, I'm getting old, so I don't know, because I feel like all I do is like listen to whatever the new like pop song is on Apple Music every day. That's all I care about. I don't know. I don't pay attention to like what the DIY labels are doing as much as I used to.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like, I feel that way too, and that's why like a lot of like guys in town will be like, man, there's like, you talk about this on the pod, but people will be like, there's no like all ages shows anymore. Where it's like, well, like, why do you feel like you need to be at an all ages show? You're 30 years old. There probably are all ages shows that you don't know about because you don't hang out with 18-year-olds. Right. And like if kids want to do all ages shows, like they can do them. I feel like the tools are available, and they don't need.
Yeah, but they've moved on to like monetizing things on Instagram and shit. Like they've cracked the code way more than we did. We're like,
Yeah,
maybe if I sell enough 1-inch buttons, I can pay for a tour. And they're like, I own my own vertical of Vice magazine now through Instagram.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Like, I feel like when I was learning about stuff, like there's such more of an emphasis on like anti-capitalism and, you know, giving away things for free on the internet or whatever. And now it's like everybody is just like bowed down to just like streaming and like branding and like, I don't know. I don't mind it. Like people, like shit changes and stuff, but I do kind of look back on the old days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I sound crazy right now. I'm like 26.
But the old days you're describing are like what you were reading on Hipinion when you were 14 or whatever, I assume.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had that happen to you, and then because you told me that your favorite Blink album is Dude Ranch, which to me says a few things. It says that you are maybe a deeper fan than most people your age who just think that they only like Enema of the State. And that you maybe there's a little bit of like coolness to that. Like I'm wondering if maybe you were bullied by the message boards into making sure that you liked the right album.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I have only heard Dude Ranch as an adult. I totally like it came out in like '98, so I really like missed the boat on that. Even like I actually think I missed the boat on all of Blink 182. Like. There were definitely songs that had an impact on me as a kid, like, and I can remember specifically hearing like All the Small Things for the first time on the school bus, and I was like, holy shit, like this is like a rock song on pop radio. Like, even though like when you read about what people say about it, they're like, yeah, this sounds like pop music. It's not that different. If you're like 6 years old, you like shit your pants when you hear that.
So that's who it's for, 6-year-olds.
Yeah, definitely. It's for 6-year-olds, and it's not for music journalists.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I think Self-Titled kind of just came out just at this time where I didn't get into it, and yeah, I don't know. So like I really have only heard this stuff as an adult, aside from like the hit singles, which were like, you know, everywhere. But like I feel like Dude Ranch just is, I wish I was listening to that instead of like when I was getting into pop punk as a teenager. I mean, like you should get into the stuff that's around you at the time, but I feel like honestly, like Dude Ranch is like I would say it's like a perfect pop punk record. It's like clips, the pace is so good, like it's fast the whole time kind of, and it's just I don't know, it's a great record.
And so you've only listened to it as an adult. Like at what point did you get into like, because I've heard your band Laughing Gas and it doesn't sound like someone who was raised on Weezer Make Believe, so sort of how did you arrive at that music?
I think it was just like a kind of like transition, like being into indie rock, that was like radio friendly indie rock as like a kid, and then getting more into like pop punk, and then from pop punk just like going backwards and learning about like 80s hardcore, and also starting to pay attention to like what was happening in the region, because I think like Laughing Gas is like pretty influenced by old weird 80s bands, but we also like I think we're inspired by the bands that were coming up at the same time as us, like Lumpy and the Dumpers and like Big Zit and stuff. So it's just kind of I don't know, gradual thing. Like I like, I'm definitely more of like a rock and like punk and power pop guy than I am a hardcore guy. And I think like in Laughing Gas that kind of comes through. Like I feel like there's a poppiness to it in a way, or like there's just like a songcraft to our hardcore songs. I don't know.
Definitely, I can see that. But I think what you're describing of things being flattened too is like only in this day and age, I think, could you be in a band like that that's sort of like maybe Killed by Death hardcore or something, and then still be taken seriously when you say that you love Dude Ranch. Like I feel like even 10 years ago that wasn't allowed.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't know like why that is, but I just think in general, like maybe growing up, you don't have to hide what got you where you are now, I guess. But yeah, there's definitely like you weren't supposed to admit that you liked like pop radio friendly music.
Yeah, you just had to be someone who like, oh yeah, when I turned 11, I bought all these obscure 7-inches from '82, and that's and then I just was that cool guy forever. Like it's like what the fuck? No.
Yeah, and they're like to this day there's a bunch of like gatekeeper like bullshit with like punk, but yeah, I'm not interested in being that kind of guy anymore.
Right. Was there a time when you were?
Yeah, probably like in my earlier 20s, and definitely like even when I was like a teenager, like or even like an early teen when it was arbitrary, like for whatever reason I thought that like as American Idiot was coming out, I thought that was tacky or something, but like Dookie was cool. And I mean, I feel like American Idiot was kind of tacky, but they also like did something right with that record.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. It's like, I mean, I also think that's like a good level of cynicism to have. And obviously, even through seeing like the jokes that you make on Instagram, you're very like aware of these things. But I think it's also fair for it to be both. Like you can be like, oh, American Idiot is super tacky, but it also is awesome. And that's totally allowed. I don't know. That's the other thing that's missing is people don't understand that you're allowed to make fun of things that you like.
Right, exactly. And also like you're allowed to reference something without making fun of it, or like just because someone else is like criticizing something, it's not an attack on you. I don't know. I've just encountered that a lot recently where it's like people, I mean, it's because like the language of the internet is so like ironic and hateful basically that like people just kind of assume the worst, I think sometimes when they see a joke that like references something.
Right. It's like the only mode that you're allowed is just like loving everything.
Yeah. You either can love everything or you're like, hating everything. Like, yeah, it's hard to find a middle ground.
Right. And so, I mean, this is so fun to talk about, and we haven't even talked about the song at all. I don't know if you have anything to say about the specific song Untitled.
It's like pretty good. It's not my favorite song on that record. I feel like at that point Mark was really the star of the band, and his songs are like so much better. But it's like, I feel like aside from the like intro where it's peak nursery rhyme, it's a good song.
Yeah, I'm into it too. And I feel like we haven't talked enough about the sketches, so we'll probably dig into that.
Oh yeah, that's included. Yeah.
But I also just wanted to ask you quickly, and we're going to talk about this more in a second, but I learned about you through just like following you on Instagram and seeing your memes, which have gone through many variations and are currently your craft is in a next level place this week.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
But I'm curious about your opinion on how, like I talk to so many people, even just my friends at the odd time that I'll go to a show here, my friends who are way cooler than me, I'll talk to them and they all love memes too. Like even just the way that, and it's corny to talk about now, but like the egg punk, chain punk thing, everyone was talking about that everywhere. And I'm just curious what you think about how memes, I think maybe memes are responsible for like punks admitting that things are funny finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with the beauty of memes, and I think why I was attracted to making them, is that they, there isn't too much like mediation. Like you can see things that speak directly and specifically to your like direct specific experience of like, being anything, like going to punk shows or, being a forklift operator or being a wine mom or anything. Like it's all out there. And I think, I don't know. I think I kind of have mixed feelings about like, scene memes, because I think some of it kind of reminds me of like message board drama and other like memes about music are just like don't seem based in reality. And like a lot of times they'll like I feel like going to like a noise show is such like a common like punchline and like alt meme circles or whatever, when it's like also like a part of people's like daily lives for whatever, or for better or for worse. So I don't know, I think for like I used to make more like music oriented ones, but then I like started, I mean, like the world's so small, and like I feel like people from bands are probably seeing some of the stuff I make, and that kind of gives me mixed feelings, I guess. I feel like I would be like stressed out if I saw, I mean, I do get stressed out if I see something that I feel like someone's talking shit on me.
Right. Yo, sorry,
like,
one second. Fucking Woody's here. I gotta open the door. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Woody, is that your cat?
Yeah, he interrupts the pod sometimes. He doesn't like when I do my like projecting voice. He prefers when I'm a soft man.
Do you speak to your cat in a voice?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Like but I don't. I try not to tell people about it because it's very embarrassing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the bond.
It's too intimate. Although my wife does it when like her family's here, she'll bust out the Woody voice, and it's like too intimate and fucked.
Yeah, that's a sacred bond between animal and man. That shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. But, so what you're saying was like, yeah, I think it's even weird for me knowing that people listen to this. Like every time I remember that, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, and like I'm kind of worried sometimes that like, I mean, I think I would love to get a job in media or comedy, and so I worry that like I might be shutting some doors by like talking shit or something, because people are so sensitive, rightfully so. And so yeah, I try to pull back from that a little bit and move more towards just pretending I'm an extremely stupid guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really good. I mean, I would argue that maybe it's because I'm older, but I do find that guardedness like kind of painful sometimes when you can tell that people are worried about future opportunities. I mean, maybe it's just because of my own life. I've burned so many bridges and said so many stupid things that I just don't want to believe that I shouldn't have. But I don't know. It's interesting. But I also think I've noticed like you were mentioning the message board drama. Sometimes if I watch these memers Instagram stories, it's like fucking crazy, the shit that's going on in the stories.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I feel like being into punk in my early teens and in my late teens and early 20s kind of equipped me for, because I was like in drama too, and so like nothing serious, but just like picking nonsense fights over the internet. And so I've kind of learned not to do that. I feel like having like some degree of like having good feedback from creative endeavors outside of making posts on Instagram is like equip me for not getting too mad about stuff, which I'm like thankful for.
Right. Damn. Well, okay, let's wrap this one up and then we're going to go behind the paywall. So, where should people look for you, and do you want to plug anything? What's up?
Yeah, you can check out my Instagram. The @ is @miles. You can check out my Twitter account. It's @milesgrimmer. Laughing Gas is our band, and we're still working on it. We're recording soon, and yeah, that's about it.
Sick.
Thanks for having me on.